So yeah, so before my death, my first spiritual awakening was when I was 13. And I grew up in Toledo, Ohio. Holy Toledo, as they say. Mm-hmm. And it was Thanksgiving. And my best friend Jeff we were standing on a street called Bennett Road. And we both had the feeling someone was staring at us, you know. And it was like we looked up and there was this bell-shaped silver flying saucer, and it was about 50 feet wide and 20 feet tall, and it was 100 feet over our heads, and it was silently hovering, and it wasn't even budging an inch in the air. Silently hovered there. And I looked at my friend Jeff, and he was crying, and I said, "Isn't it strange?" I said, "This is like standing in a Salvador Dali painting. It's totally so surreal."
Bizarre.
To be, yeah, and everyone was in their houses and no cars were going down the road. I can never remember one car. It was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It was in my middle class neighborhood, right? It was like the day the earth stood still, you know?
I was going to ask you how you knew who Salvador Dali was, but I was like, you're middle class. All right, so I'll give it to you.
I've been
at 13 years old.
Well, I also have been an artiste in other lifetimes. I'm not saying I was Salvador Dali, but then I said to Jeff, I said, "You feel so much love, you feel like you're going to turn into a ball of pure love, right?" And then he said, "Yeah." He says it's overwhelming. The love is so powerful. And we're going like, how are we experiencing love from this experience, right? It's not like an apparition of Jesus or, you know, Mother Mary or Kuan Yin or, you know, this is like, you know, an ET ship hovering over our heads, right? Mm-hmm. And I turned to Jeff and I said, "You know, Jeff, do you realize we can never go back to being who we were? It'll be impossible. We can't. Our reality has been shifted. And there's no going back." And I mean, it was philosophically, we were like bantering this, and it was so profound, you know, because we embodied that. We embodied it, this experience. And then all of a sudden, I experienced something I had no words for, and it was mental telepathy. It's pure thought transference. So the beings on this ship, and it was like holographic, it was like every cell in my body was talking. And it was very clear, and it was in English. And here's what they said. This was the opening line. They said, "Remember, you made us promise to come and awaken you now, so you can walk with conscious awareness and help your brothers and sisters on earth. Remember what unique and beautiful part of Creator and creation they are." And it was like the veils of amnesia. That's when they started to come down, even before my death experience at 19. And then the ship, we were on our bicycles, and I told this to Jeff. And we were on our bicycles, and we started riding down Bennett Road, and then it started just gliding. It stayed at the same altitude, but silently just moving at the speed of our bicycles, just staying in front of us. And then it turned left down over the street called Regina Caeli, which means Queen from Heaven, Queen of Heaven in Latin, right?
Cool name.
And later in my life, I went to England, and I never got the cosmic joke of Bennett Road. What's the significance of Bennett Road? And I looked at the street sign, but I saw it as two words. I split the word Bennett into Ben, E-T. And Ben in Hebrew means son of. Son of an E.T., right?
Yeah. Aren't we all though?
yeah.
Kinda.
Join the club, right?
right. You know.
And so, yeah.
No, it's
And it
really
flew,
cool. Though.
and then
That's really cool.
and the ship then flew over. We got off our bikes, and it was hovering now over this field near this Catholic church named Regina Caeli, right?
Mm.
Queen from Heaven Church, right? And school. And what's interesting, and is in my mind, like I had gone to school there, right? And I can remember saying when I graduated, and I had just graduated, by the way, and I said I'll never step foot on that land again, right? Because I've had it with this, religion.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is I remember the priest of that church. I remember him saying something about on this land he'll build his new church. He always wanted to build his new church on this land that the ET ship was hovering over, right?
Yeah.
And I heard that in my head, and I go like, wow, this is where I'm going to build my new church, right? And it's a cosmic, it's beyond religion, right?
Yeah.
And I told that to Jeff. Now I forgot to say that during this whole experience, it was daylight. This ship was hovering in daylight. Now it's twilight, and you can see it's like a Maxfield Parrish painting. The stars are starting to pop out. That light blue to the deeper azure blue.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, it had portholes and a turret with a dome, and it looked like a quartz crystal sphere on top of the dome. And it had 3 spheres underneath in a triangulation, but you could only see half the spheres. And so the bottom of it looked like the Liberty Bell, like the base of the Liberty Bell, how it's skirted.
Mm-hmm.
And the ship instantly went in 1 second to about 2,000 feet from 100 feet off the ground. And then you could see figures looking out the portholes, right? Humanoid-like shadow, in shadow with light behind them. And Jeff and I started jumping up and down like Zulu Africans. We were ecstatic. We were jumping up and down like dancing, and we were so happy. And then the ship all of a sudden then just went from 2,000 feet into the stars, like in a ziggurat, a stair-step pattern, moving about 20,000 miles an hour. And it went into the stars in 2 seconds. Yeah, and that was the end of that experience. Or should I say the beginning?
The beginning.
So there's nothing before this that, like, in your life that hinted or led up to anything like this?
No.
It was just pretty...
I grew up as an orphan. From the age of 2, I lived in foster homes all over the United States. My mother was in the hospital for 8 straight years. And my father was a boiler maker, and he built skyscrapers, and he traveled all over. So I saw my father maybe once a year. So he'd hire someone to manage my life. And my sister lived with my father's, would be my grandfather and grandmother. And so I was the one moving around and living in all these foster homes. And I can't remember anyone ever talking about, sharing anything like that, about reincarnation, about any of these experiences. But when I died, they told me why I had chosen that. And they said it was to turn the world, humanity, the world into your family, so that no one would be a stranger to me. And so every family, ethnic group and family that I lived with, the fathers that, and I was so grateful that they took me in, that they opened their hearts up to me. And the siblings, became my, even if it was a short period of time, became
Your family.
Yeah, my family, and I loved them all, but it turned the world into my family, because that went on for almost 8, 9 straight years. And I lived on car lots in L.A. I mean, people that had a house on a car lot, you know, going to Disney World. I lived on farms. I lived with such a diverse group of people. And so it made it easy for me to embrace humanity and everyone I meet as my family that I love. You know.
It's a huge lesson in trust.
Yeah, I was never abused. I had 5 angelic beings around me that I used to talk to. And everywhere I lived, I used to sit up in bed and I would sing, like at 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I was ecstatically happy. And my angels said, you see those mourning doves outside your window? Every place I lived had mourning doves outside my window. And they said, we send them to remind you that you're loved and that you're not alone.
Wow.
And people would come in the room when I'm singing, the people I'm living with, they come in the room when I'm singing, like at 4 o'clock in the morning, and says, well, he goes to bed with the birds, he's going to wake up with them. You know, it's like, yeah, like this, you know, it was amazing. I'd look at him and just smile, you know. And it was, and, you know, and I can say I can remember looking up at the stars at night, wherever I lived, out of my window and outside, and there was a part of me that felt like my father was there, and I looked to the earth that I stood on as my mother. You know, and maybe that came through my soul experience as being a Lakota, you know, Native American, you know, 2 lifetimes ago. You know, and I feel like all of those experiences make all of our lives very rich, because we're really a composite, right? Not only of our other aspects that might be on another planet and those qualities streaming through, right?
Right.
That may have a completely different than how we operate on Earth, but all the lives you've ever lived. And so when you remember your lives, and the wisdom and the lessons that you learned, and you have a conscious awareness, it's that much more that you can serve your brothers and sisters and help reflect how beautiful and precious they are.
During the, I kind of grew up around spirituality and metaphysics and those kind of concepts, but I would say the acceleration of my awakening has been the past 4 years, and a couple years ago, I had this experience where I connected with Mother Earth, and I felt the love she had for me. It was the, you know, at that point, the most powerful, unconditional, pure love I've ever felt in my life.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it really, you know, it really helped ground me and put things in perspective at the time, because I was in a relationship and it was really, you know, pretty much gone sour, and I was just like confused, you know, and I was going through a lot. Like I was getting into all this conspiracy stuff and having the experiences where I'm like dreaming about ETs and having them visit me psychically and so on and so forth. But this experience with Mother Earth was like, I didn't think you could feel this level and power of love through the human body before this experience. And I've had stuff that has even surpassed this since then, but before this experience was just like, wow, you know, and it actually, it freed me in a lot of ways. And like you, I always, even though I've been with my family all growing up, I always felt like a child that belongs to all of humanity, and I extend and make and re-meet my family wherever I go.
Wow.
And I tell my, you know, family, I tell my blood family, it's like, I don't just belong to you, you know. It's like, you can't expect, you know, like I'll go where I'm called to go.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not that I don't love you, it's not that I don't miss you, it's just that's the being that I am. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's love through oneness,
Hmm.
you know, and that love that we were all birthed at the same time together, all of humanity, all of creation. You see, that's what that love, that infinite love, is what unifies us. And you know, of all the stories I could tell, you know, it's like, don't ever give up the love that created you. You know, don't ever turn your back on the love, the pure love that you are and always will be. And no matter how much in denial one is, they can never change that.
Mm.
Not even the most, should I say, person that has chosen, you know, lesser than love expressions, you know.
Mm.
They can't change that fact, you know, but they have free will to deny the very love that created them. And, you know, it's, let's see, you can even choose to love people who express the darkest of things.
Mm.
You don't have to like what they do, but you can actually always choose to love them. And if you do, and they happen to see your reflection, they may remember who they are and return to that state of consciousness. See? And it can happen in an instant, or it could take 10 lifetimes. And I have found that love, you know, it's always worked for me, you know. It's always worked for me. And it's just love can have compassion for those who have chosen not to love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You can still have compassion. You don't have to agree or like it.
No, not at
or
all.
conform, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just love it back into the void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could happen that way. It could happen that way. I would, you know. Yeah. But there is no hell. And see, that's the other thing too. A lot of people think there's a hell that they'll be punished forever, and you know, love will never justify that.
Well, it's not about them, it's about your own freedom in that love.
Right. Yeah, good point.
And it's that balance, and that's I feel like that's part of the reason, like, this is like we're all meeting right now, is like stepping into that more, like really putting our money where our mouth is as far as like real love and real service.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've always been, you know, you guys know I'm like an empathic person. I work with people one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I want the world, I want everyone on this planet, every single person. I know I never would be content until every single person's like free.
Yeah.
And experiences the kind of love I know every single being deserves to experience. And at the same time, I've had to learn how to not take that on, especially with, you know, people in my immediate, you know, like circle, mm-hmm. and close loved ones, you know, and I have to like be like, all right, that's their process, you know, and still, like you said, love them, even though I'm like, man, I would not do what you're doing right now. Just like you see it, like at least you think you see it, like I could end this right now, like you just have to start doing this and stop doing that, and then you're done. You're free. Let's go. Let's do it. But it's not. It's like you said. They could be in that for 10 lifetimes. This might be their 8 out of 10 doing that same bullshit. Yeah. And you have to like drop the judgment, because you could have been them, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple lifetimes ago. Maybe this is the lifetime. This is the 11th lifetime, and you got out of your bullshit, you know, cycle.
Yes.
And
yes.
So it's like I've really had to look at my own judgments on people, even though I'm there to help other people look at my judgments, my criticism, and step back and be like I said, put my money where my mouth is as far as love and compassion and service. And sometimes serving someone means stepping back and letting them go through what they need to go through. And like when you came back from your death, you said it's more empowering for them to go through that on their own than to have you point things out to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
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 It sounds simple, at least to me, but it's like, to me, it was like a really big lesson.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, when I was on the other side, when I died, they said humanity, they're all in human suits down there. Human suits, but we come from all over creation.
Mm.
In even other dimensions, and we came to experience, duality, and to see what we could do to help set our brothers and sisters free and grow in the process. Because it's been a tough cookie, so to speak.
Spiritual traffic jam.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've been saying lately, this is like the ultimate game here. This is like the ultimate game of games on this planet, it seems like.
Yeah. But we are a melting pot.
Yeah. Which is one of the things I love about it. I love the diversity here.
Me too.
I couldn't live without it.
Yeah.
I could not live without all the colors and cultures and music and everything.
Yeah.
It'd be boring.
For sure. The diversity of creation blows my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that no two souls follow exactly the same path. Now, not just on planet Earth, but everywhere in creation.
Mm-hmm.
That there's embodiments, whether they're in denser bodies or lighter bodies. And that blows my mind to think about, like, you're the only one that's you.
Mm-hmm.
No one else in creation has walked your exact path. And see, that makes everyone special and great. Okay, to Source, in my eyes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you too.
Yeah.
And see, that's why we, in essence, you're a part of God, of Source,
Absolutely.
and the only one, that finger of Source, and you're the only one, and you're the only one, and I'm the only one, right? And when you encounter another soul, you see, it's so precious to me, because you may never meet that part of God ever again, because it's so infinite. And see, I can't go into amnesia and forget that. And so, to me, it's so precious, and so great, and so special. That's why we should bow to each other, you see. Because that encounter and the exchange, even if no words are spoken, it's so rare and precious. And that's, to me, it's like, and if souls could feel that, they wouldn't be killing each other, and they wouldn't be doing anything to hurt each other. You see, if they knew how sacred every encounter is, and the opportunity that's in this moment that we're sharing right now will never happen again. Not exactly like this. And so, boy, it's like I want to just breathe that in, take that into my heart and soul, and go like, oh, thank you so much for showing up.
And the beautiful part is that through the infinity is expanding. It's forever expanding.
Yeah.
So every new lifetime is just adding in, like, it's adding on to that Akashic record of all that has been.
Yeah. And there are new creations being birthed that no one has ever done before. No one's ever thought of before. Those expressions are completely unique. The bodies are unique. They may be new souls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are reorderings of creation too. and this is continually happening. You know, we have a lot to look forward to.
Mm.
And so
This is
that's
true.
my message too. And even if one physically dies, your soul has so much to look forward to. and there's so much to know the pure truth of your beingness and the walk that your soul has taken through creation already. And then all the possibilities of what you could choose, you know, is infinite. And this is very short in our soul's
Very
expression, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that's another reason why we should hold every moment sacred. And every breath that we take in is just, it's a gift. It's a gift to have been birthed from pure love, pure source, you know? Yeah. So I was like, wow, I can't say it enough, you know? I know I'm repeating myself.
I don't think you have that much.
Really? I don't know, I feel like...
I think you're wrong, Makara.
Really? Okay.
The first time
stand
showering
tonight,
us.
for the first time tonight, you're wrong.
Okay. I stand corrected.
You stand correct.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for your beautiful reflections and your beautiful honesty. Yeah, and for everyone listening, you know, to this, you know, I just want to say, I love humanity and I love you. And you're precious, even if I don't know you. I'm still one with everything, and so are you. And so to know everyone isn't that far away, you know? We carry each other in our hearts. And I feel like humanity has suffered way too much, you know, even beyond their karma. And it's been imposed on them. And it's time for us to be delivered, you know? And for us to rise out of that dross, you know? And know joy and know that love again. And one of the biggest programmings is that we're not deserving, you know? And I just want to say the truth of our beingness has always been deserving.
Yeah, that's a program that needs to be reordered.
Yeah.
Deserve whatever your heart desires.
And I definitely think we are stepping into that.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like mankind is definitely stepping into that space.
For sure.
Shifting into that availability through our awareness.
Yeah. And it's
through holding
accepting
the vision of
it's just
that
exactly.
through our awareness.
It's accepting the truth of our beingness. You know, we can't not be that pure love that created us. We can pretend to not be.
Because we have free will.
Yeah. But it's living a lie. You see. And we've all gone through that. At some level of our consciousness, we've all accepted. There's always been a lesson where we've accepted probably less than who we are, right? Because we accepted beliefs that weren't true.